Hey, what's up everybody? So out here at the box beds today, it is March 4th. It's getting on into the late afternoon time here, and we've had some really good weather the past few days. I tilled this bed probably 2 weeks ago. I let it do its thing. I raked it smooth, and I came back out again a while ago and I tilled it, and now we're planting our storage onions. So we put a video out last year of us pulling our onions and drying and curing them to have them stored in the crawl space all winter long.
How did I get the wood way in there?
I'm getting that, baby. I'm taking care of that. Well, now we're actually planting the onions. We had a lot of questions from people saying, hey, that's great, that's really good to know, but how do I get storage onions? So we're going to show you how we plant them. For many years, I bought the dried up bulbs of onions that you can buy at any of the big box stores, you find at your home and garden stores, whatever. Those are great if you want to eat green onions, but if you want a really big bulb storage onion, you need to be buying the variety of onion that specifically grows to be like that. So what we're actually doing, as you see, these aren't dried up bulbs. These are actually green onion plants. What you're doing is we're actually planting these in the ground. And of course you'd plant them in the ground. That sounded kind of silly, didn't it? But we're actually planting these and they're already growing. So we're not going to have to wait for the dried up bulb to get moisture in it and start growing and everything. These are going to grow up really tall. Last year some of my onion plants were nearly 3 feet tall. And then the taller and greener and thicker that the top of the onion is, the onion pulls the energy out of that green portion down into the bulb, and it grows into the bulb onion that you then pull in the summertime. Normally what I do when I plant my onions, every other year except this year, I plant them in straight rows with a trough in the middle. And what happens is I can usually only get 3 or maybe 4 rows of onions in this, I forget what this bed is. I can't remember if it's 4 feet by 12 maybe. I can't remember exactly. But normally all I can get are about 4 long rows in here, because what happens is I would make a hill that went the full length, and that hill would have to have about 6 inches of surface on top of it. And then you'd make the valley in between the hills. And the reason you do that was I would always add my fertilizer and my water throughout the spring and early summer in those valleys, but I ended up with half of the box bed was unused. So when I got to looking into it, what I need to do is I need to actually space these onions about 5 to 6 inches apart. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing a checkerboard style alternating grid pattern. So I'm going to go through, push these in, and then I'll just move on down the row. So I had already started some of these. When you plant these onions, you're taking the white, the bulb part here with the roots already in it. You're just barely pushing it into the soil. I mean, I may be a half an inch into the dirt there. After I get all these set, I've got 2 different styles. I've got the candy onions and I've got a bundle of copra onions. I always buy my onions from Dixondale Farms down in Texas. They always provide high quality onions. They turn out fantastic, and you can see what you get. I mean, this was one bundle of onions. There's probably 70 sets in here. The candy onions were probably about 70 to 80 sets in that as well. But I'm going to stagger my way in a checkerboard style pattern all the way across, and I'm going to see how many onions I can get in this one bed this year if I'm not doing the hills and valley style or type of planting. You got anything you want to add to that?
No.
No? You want to help me with this?
Yeah.
All right, let's get started here. I'm going to move this back about however far I need it to be.
Yeah.
Try to line it up, and then you're going to poke one in here, and we're going to put them everywhere that there's a nail, basically. Yep. So you can start. We're going to work on, let me move it right here a little bit more. Put them on this side if you can, okay?
Right here?
Right up against the board. They got to be right up against the board, because I'm trying to keep them spaced the right amount, okay? There's your bundle, because we're going to work on down through here.
Okay.
Putting them in, okay?
That's pretty easy.
Yep.
Make it kind of hard because they're kind of stuck together, and then
Yep.
if you're just pushing it in.
Yep. It's different than what a lot of people think of when they plant onions. As far as soil goes, this is just topsoil and red clay from here on the farm. Basically, you can see we're on top of a ridge. It's not like we've got really good soil up here.
No.
I've added our fireplace ashes to this over the past 2 years. So there's several ash chunks in here as well. So there's just a wide variety of types of dirt here, but this is not a high quality soil here by any means. All right, move your pile. Some of these may not fully develop into great big onions, and what you can do is you can go through earlier in the season, in the early summer, late spring, and you can actually pull these as green onions if you see some that just aren't producing the way that you want. I do that occasionally because, you know, this is going to be a lot of onions.
I just got an itty bitty one. Here's an example of a big one. This is an example of a big one, ish.
I'm about to run out of where I can't lean any farther.
I know. I don't have to lean, really.
Yeah?
You might have to come on the side. And here's a little bit of an example of a small one and a big one, ish.
Yeah.
This one's really skinny, and then this one's real big. So.
Wow, these are all grown together in a giant root ball down
That's
here.
how mine are.
Yeah.
See right here? I had to like pull them apart gently.
There's a piece of loose dirt there. Crumble it up. All right.
Okay, quick question. What if we run out of onions before we reach the end?
We'll plant other stuff at the other end. We'll plant beets or something down there. That's why I'm doing it this way, because last year I didn't have room to plant anything else in these box beds
Yeah.
because the onions literally took up everything.
Yeah. And
I mean, we planted, I forget how many onions we planted last year. It was something like 240 onions or something crazy, I forget.
so whenever we finish with these, we're gonna move to a different kind, right?
Yes.
I think it's just really fun coming outside and doing this kind of stuff because it's better than being inside, stuck inside on like a rainy day or something.
Yeah.
And it just feels good outside today.
And
It's
it
a pretty
feels
day.
fantastic out here. It's about 65 degrees. That's really good for
That's
March
pretty-
4th.
That's pretty warm for what we've been having.
Yeah.
I only have 2 more, Dad.
That's fine. I'm about out as well.
Okay, I guess we're gonna have to switch then.
Yep, we've got the other bundle of other onions over there to put in just a minute.
Yeah. Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we have that over a little bit so we know that this is now a different kind?
You mean, what do you mean, have this over?
Yeah.
I can do that. That's
Because
fine.
then it looks like we have another row of that.
And I've spaced them out just a little bit more here. So,
Yeah.
all right, so we're switching kinds now, right?
Yeah, what
So
kind
now,
is this?
this is called copra. This is more of a storage onion. I think this is more of a pink onion, whereas the candies are more of a yellow onion, and they're
Yeah,
ultra
I really
super
like
sweet. And they don't store more than just a few months, just maybe 3 or 4 months before the high sugar content causes them to start to rot. These copras have a lot, that means they're also more bitter, but these copras have a lower sugar content, which will allow them to store longer. All right, so we're going to have to come this way a little bit because these are the 2 posts that we use to put the row coverings on them. So when we get done here, I'll put the pipe over this and we'll put the row coverings on it because these are freeze sensitive to some extent.
We might not get another freeze, but
We will get a freeze.
we will.
Yes. We always get a freeze. We got a freeze here last year up into May, but it
Huh.
didn't kill the onions because I had them covered.
Yeah.
All right, well, as you can see, we've got our onions in here. So, like I said, this is the first time I've done it this way. I've always done it the other way, but in order to have planted this many onions, I would have had to use this entire box bed and half of this bed back here behind me. Now, granted,
We still have some left over here.
yeah, there's still some of this bed left, but I mean, you got to understand. I mean, we're on our farm here, and it's not that land is an issue because we put out a 2-acre summer garden every year. I have these box beds right here at my house specifically for the onions, and I'll grow some potatoes up here usually, and I always have, in early season anyway, I'll have lettuce and kale and things like that here that I can just come out and we can pick some lettuce, go in and just have a salad. So if I can consolidate my onions into a smaller area but still give them the same kind of spacing that they need to grow into the bulbs, then I still leave the rest of this to have, you know, those other things I'm talking about. You know, I can maybe add some more cabbage to my garden this year because I don't have onions in all of my box beds now. So, you know, it's me trying to consolidate, you know, make the most of the box beds that I have so that I'm not having to go till and get our big gardens, which are all red clay, and I'm not having to go till and get those ready this early because they're not nowhere near being ready to start planting anything.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, Mom will be like, "Huh, I'm missing this ingredient. Taryn, go outside to the box beds and get this for me."
Yeah.
Like if she needs basil, she just says, "Kids, go get me some basil." Hands me a little bag.
Yeah.
Go get me about a handful of basil. Okay.
That's it for the onions for now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll try to do some progress videos of the onions as the year goes on. What I'm going to do now is I've got some PEX water piping, and I'm going to bend them over these pieces of rebar. No, not those. That's something different. That's a different thing. So I'm going to try to bend those PEX over here, and I've got this row covering here that will pull over this, and it will just help shelter and protect this. The ground already had some moisture in it from rain that we had 2 or 3 days ago. I may hit it. We'll see. I need to check the weather and see what it's going to be tonight. I may leave it uncovered tonight if it's not going to get too terribly cold. I don't know. I'll decide later. But anyway, that's it for the onion planting video. Stick around. We'll see what else we can do and see how they turn out this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
God bless.